Section 7-4, Part 3, Analyzing Nonlinear Relationships. Suppose there are 20 rabbits on an island that the rabbit population can triple every 6 months. A part, make a table of values to find how many rabbits there will be after 2 years. B part, does this relationship represent a nonlinear function? Explain. And C part, use the table when would you expect the rabbit population to reach 1 million rabbits? So using the table, when would you expect the rabbit population to reach 1 million? All right, so the first thing we need to do with A part is make a table. So I've kind of drawn a table for us, okay? Rabbit population. Right now, 0 time, we have 20 rabbits. Now, every 6 months, the rabbit population will triple. Now, how do we relate months and years? Well, there's 12 months in 1 year. So how many months would be in a half a year? Because that's what our problem told us. Our problem told us that the population tripled every 6 months. Well, what is 6 months? 6 months is half a year. So in every 6 months, 6 months is half a year. All right? So I'm going to write a half a year. So we've had, look at it being that there's been 6 months past, that's half a year, and the number of rabbits tripled. So tripled means multiply something times 3. If it said doubled, we would multiply something times 2. But since this says triple, we'll multiply it times 3. 20 times 3 gives us 60. All right, another half year has passed. Well, a half plus a half would be 1. 1 full year. We're going to triple again. That's 60 times 3 is 180. Another half year has passed, so this time it's 1.5 years. Add them together. A half plus 1 is 1.5. That would be 180 times 3. Using your calculator, that's 540. Okay? So another half a year has passed. What's 1.5 plus another half? That gives me 2. So that would be 540 times 3 equals to 1,620. So it says make a table of values to find how many rabbits there would be after 2 years. So after 2 years, so the answer to A part, after 2 years, how many rabbits would we have? 1,620. That's how many rabbits we would have after 2 years if every 6 months the population tripled. Okay? So now let's go to B part. B part says, does this relationship represent a nonlinear function? Well, let's look. Okay, excuse me. On this side, notice I'm adding a half each time. I'm adding a half every time. So my input side is constant. But let's look at my output side. 20 is being increased to 40. You can always subtract them. 20 is being increased to 60. You can always subtract them. What is 60 minus 40? 20. You had to add, what is 60 minus 20 is 40. You have to add 40 to get to 60. So to go from 20 to 60, we had to add 40. To go from 60 to 180, we will have to add 120. To go from 180 to 540, you can always subtract them, 540 minus 180 on your calculator, and that will give you 360. You had to add 360 here. And then to go from 540 to 1,620, you had to add 1,080. So you see, these are not constant. So my answer to B part would be, this is a non-linear function. The only way it can be a linear function is if the change of your inputs are the same and the change of all of the outputs have to be the same. These are not the same, therefore it is not linear. Now let's go to C part. Using the table, when would you expect the rabbit population to reach 1 million rabbits? So what we need to do is keep continuing on with our chart. All right, so let's add a half to our time. 2 plus a half, that's 2.5. Okay, we will need to multiply 1,620 times 3. So 1,620 times 3 is 4,860. Continuing on, 2.5 plus a half is 3. So that's 4,860 times 3 gives you 14,580. Continuing on, 3 plus a half is 3.5. So we would take 14,580 times 3 gives you 43,740. Continuing on, adding a half, 3.5 plus a half would be 4. So that's 43,740 times 3 is 131,220. Still not to a million. Add another half. So 4 plus a half is 4.5. That would be 131,220 times 3. That gives me 393,660. Multiply those big numbers out on your calculator. And let's add another half. 4.5 plus a half would be 5. So 393,660 times 3 gives me 1,180,980. So the answer to C part is after 5 years, the rabbit population after 5 years, the rabbit population will be over 1 million.